Yo, what's good, YouTube, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Obviously, some crazy news has just happened in the world of football with Manchester City. But before we get into that, I wanted to go ahead and thank y'all for helping us get to 800 subscribers on the channel. Obviously, this is a huge monument for us, and we appreciate y'all. And obviously, we're on our road to 1,000. So hit the subscribe button down below.
Absolutely, man. We're only 200 subs away. So if you enjoy our content, hit a subscribe button, help us get to that goal. But without further ado, let's get right into the news.
So Manchester City, as we all know by now, has been charged with over 100 breaches of financial rules. This is absolutely crazy news, and obviously we both have our opinions on this. So I'm going to pass this one off to you first. What is your initial reaction to this?
It was a bit surprising because I think this is something that we've weirdly, as football fans, you've known City have been doing, financial loopholes to get around the way they've been spending money, because it's not a known fact. It's a known fact that City are one of the probably the smallest followed club. I mean, they're definitely one of the newer clubs compared to the other top six. They don't have as many fans as Arsenal or Manchester United, so it's weird that they're able to spend as much money as they do to get all their signings that they have been. I mean, how many have they spent in the past 5 years? Over $1 billion. I mean, is this the type of club that generates that type of revenue? I don't think so. I mean, it's something that we've always known. I mean, everybody talks about financial fair play and stuff, but it's kind of just pushed off as a joke. We almost mentioned it as a joke at some points. It's like, they can't spend that because of financial fair play. It's like, that don't exist.
Yeah.
But this shows that this investigation has been going on for about 4 years now. So they've been building up a case against Man City for a long time, because this has been, I feel like obviously this is not something that's easy to prove, because I mean, it's basically trying to crack down on a business here. I mean, a business empire of, Man City size. But, I think it's good for football, because this is one of the things that's been plaguing the game today, where, mostly has to do with the Premier League. Just the amount of money that these teams are spending is utterly ridiculous. It's inflating the market, and it's just dumbing down football to an extent to that literally every type of smaller club just gets robbed of everything they have. I mean, the biggest one I can always remember, I remember that Monaco team that made a run to the semifinals. What was it, 2017?
Yeah, with
That
Mbappe and Bakayoko
with
and all of
Mbappe,
them. Lamar.
Bakayoko, Mendy, and all Bernardo Silva, all these
Yeah, Bernardo
guys
Silva as well.
that had this team, but it was immediately just ripped apart by Europe's elite. And that's just how football is now. But I've never really liked it for that. I mean, it's just, I don't know. For me, I mean, most of those Monaco players went to fucking City. I mean, when you look at it, City just basically signed half the team. And now, I mean, goes into the investigation of the money they spent. And now it's showing that obviously they breached the rules. And now there's possible punishment of getting relegated or getting points deduction. And I'll pass this off to you before I go into what I think should happen. But what type of punishment do you think City should get for these alleged breaches of finance?
And for me, football is a business nowadays, and whether you like it or not, everyone likes to view football, in this own little world as if it's not a business. At the end of the day, people are here to make money. These owners don't come into football to just come into football because they love the game. I'm not saying they don't love the game, but they are here to make money at the end of the day. That's why there's so much revenue generated. That's why the Premier League has one of the best business models of any league in the world. So these people are here to make money. But with Manchester City, obviously they have allegedly breached the rules. And I want to make sure I say allegedly, because, we don't want no lawsuits coming around here from this Qatari sports group or whatever, the Saudis from Man City.
The Saudis.
Yeah, the Saudis. But I will say, if this is proven against Man City, I think that they should not get relegated, because I think basically that destroys the football club. I don't think they would ever be able to recover, because we were talking about it a little bit off camera, and we mentioned Juventus, and obviously in the past they got relegated down to Serie B. But I think this would be a particularly different case to Juventus, because Juventus, the reason why they were able to rebound so quickly after that was because a lot of those players decided to stay in the Serie B, and they pretty much dominated Serie B because a lot of their world-class players stayed. Not all of them, but a lot of them did. And I think this would be a different case scenario, because I don't see a lot of these City players staying if that's the case. I would see a lot of them trying to jump ship and get out of there. I think Haaland would be the first one. Get out of there. De Bruyne, get out of there. So many guys, Bernardo Silva, get out of there. So many guys would be trying to jump ship and get out of there. I don't think it would be very similar. I don't know if Man City would ever recover to or rebound to where they are now if that happens. And I don't think the Premier League wants that. I think they want to crack down, but I don't think they want that. I don't think they want Man City to basically just die off, because even if they get back into the Premier League after they went to the championship, I think that they would just become maybe a mid-table club at best. It would take a very long time, potentially I think 5 to 7 years, to even get close to the level that they're at now, where they're basically competing for titles and winning a lot of titles. I don't think they would. It wouldn't be easy to get back here. So I don't think the Premier League wants that, and I don't think realistically the fans act like they want that, but we really don't want that because it wouldn't ruin the Premier League. But I think that
yeah.
one of the things that makes the
Ruin
Premier
the
League so
Premier League.
one of the things that makes the Premier League so compelling is that it's so competitive. And obviously it would still be competitive, but
Of course it's going to be competitive.
but part of the reason why it's so competitive is because there's 6 clubs vying for those top 4 positions, and then there's other clubs that are also sneaking up in there, like when Leicester won it, like right now Brighton are doing well, Brentford are doing well. I think that's what makes it so compelling. So look, obviously people are going to laugh at Man City, but for me, if I'm the Premier League and I get to issue a punishment, I think that they should get deducted not just a small amount of points, but enough points to where they do not qualify for any European competition. So I don't know what the exact amount would be. I don't know if it's 20 points. I don't know if it's 25. I just know I would deduct them enough points to where they do not make any European competition. And that alone would set the club back so far. I mean, without any European competition, a lot of players would want to leave. They wouldn't be able to generate a lot of money because the Champions League brings in a lot of revenue. Even Europa League gives you revenue. I don't think relegation is the answer. However, I understand if they do that, but I think that deducting a lot of points is the more realistic option and what I would do.
Missing Europe for Man City doesn't really. How does that severely affect them? I mean, they would just take what? It basically be another season to where they're not in the Champions League, and then immediately the next year they could easily just win the Premier League and be back. So
who's to say they're going to win? Who's to say they're going to win the Premier League?
If they keep the same core, if they keep the same core,
no, hold on. If they keep the same core, they will not win the Premier League next season because they can't even win the Premier League this season.
Well, they're still title contenders this season. I mean,
they're title contenders, but they would not be able to win. They would not be able to win the Premier League next season because players would leave if they don't have any European competition. Some players would leave.
Season, I don't think they're going to lose 5 to 6 players from this starting 11. That's not going to happen.
No, even if they only lose 1 to 2, even if it's Haaland, whether if it's De Bruyne, whoever, if a couple players leave,
Haaland will leave. He's under contract.
I'm just saying, if a couple players leave and they want out and they are forced to sell those players, I don't think that they would be able to they wouldn't be able to sign any good players to replace them. So that does set them back very far. I don't. You're undermining it. I think
it depends on the punishment. I mean, are they going to get a transfer ban? Are they going to be allowed to sign anybody? That all depends, because are they going to get the same treatment they got at Chelsea? I mean, what was it, 20?
Where they couldn't sign any player under Lampard, when they couldn't sign any players,
or they couldn't sign anybody. Could that happen? Well, if they do that and they're out of the Champions League, then I can understand. But also that plays in a lot is how many players would demand to leave and how many would leave. I mean, we're basically speculating and say, yeah, okay, maybe Haaland will leave, Kevin De Bruyne will leave, all these guys will leave, but we don't 100% know that. So I'm looking at it like as if, okay, what if they're able to keep these guys and just, be out of one season and just be back the next? I don't think it's enough, because if they are found to be, to be proven guilty for what they did, I mean, how far back does this really go? I mean,
they said it goes all the way back to when Aguero won him the league in 2011.
Aguero won the league. That is insane. Because
12 years ago.
They should, like you say, you're basically saying they shouldn't be relegated because, we don't want to get rid of City. City don't deserve to even be where they're at because they cheated to get there. So why should the league protect them for what? They cheated. If they're found guilty, they cheated to get to where they are, a top 6 club. And no, the Premier League is not going to really lose anything for losing one of their top teams that cheated to get there. They're still going to be the most competitive league in the world. What changes if City's not there? One top 6 team is gone. They're still the most competitive. They're still the most must-see league in the world. Nothing really changes. You lose one team that was allegedly cheating. So I don't get that. Look, I think, I don't believe it's going to happen. Look, as much as I'd like to see, I think that they should make an example of Manchester City to where no club should be trying to do this, because it's not fair to other teams that are trying to come up. Because I mean, imagine all the talent the City have bought up and taken from other clubs. I mean, I look at it as that, and just to the fact that there's other teams trying to vie for that place now. That's why you don't see Newcastle have owners that are rich enough to buy the whole fucking league, but you don't see they're not able to splurge like City just because there are still some remnants of
Not yet, at
financial fair
least.
play.
Not yet. Not yet, at
Not
least.
yet. Not yet, at least. But there's a reason they haven't boomed like City. Like City came out of basically nowhere. I mean, they got new owners and they just spent like there was no end with amount of loopholes that they could. And the club has come out to say they're welcome, they're open to the investigation, but it's like I really don't think there's a way that they can prove that, because obviously they don't have the fan base of other clubs. They're not a big club. They're not a Real Madrid. They're not a PSG. They're not a Manchester United. They're not those teams that are even able to spend that money, then that can justify it.
I think what they're trying to prove is that they're most of it was coming from their sponsorship money, and that's where this whole dispute I think is coming from. Not necessarily from fan generated revenue, because I mean, yeah, I agree with you. Obviously, you can't really prove that because it's literally the empty had. But I think what they're trying to prove is that a lot of it was coming from the sponsorship, and that's where the dispute really comes from.
And
the sponsorship money.
And if it's coming from the sponsor, how many are inflated and shit like that, stuff that goes into obviously running a business that is a football club.
Yeah,
but it doesn't. You can't stray from the main fact that if they are found guilty, it's what I can't even think of a bigger cheating scandal than this. I mean, that's cheating as it gets. I mean, I realistically, I think they should be stripped of all their titles if they're found to be literally breaking the rules and doing stuff that other teams weren't allowed to do, stuff that's strictly not allowed. They should be why should they be able to keep those titles that they won? Why should they be able to keep anything that they won in the times that they were proven to be cheating? But obviously it's alleged, but I'm just saying, if they are, why will the fans even be okay? I mean, we still have our titles. You shouldn't have those titles because you were found to be cheating.
I mean, I think, well, I think honestly it's a realistic scenario where they get stripped of their titles, and obviously, you know, like other fans of other clubs, especially specifically Manchester United and Liverpool, are saying that they would win those titles. And obviously, it's fun to we even made a video about it, hypothetically saying that would happen.
Yeah, hypothetically,
but,
the teams.
But that realistically wouldn't happen. The titles would just go null and void, and nobody would have won them. And honestly, I could see that happening, but I think that going into the past is not necessarily fixing anything. Obviously, going into the past and just saying, oh well. On Wikipedia, it says that there's null and void for the titles. I mean, everyone saw it. Everyone watched it. We saw Aguero score that goal. We saw Man City win that title. I mean, did they cheat to get there? Yes, but we saw it. So going into the past necessarily isn't fixing anything. It's not making the situation any better. So I think obviously you have to punish them for the future. And whether that's relegation or whether that's, for me, the more realistic option of deducting a lot of points. Realistically, I think they might just get a minor point deduction. Honestly, that might end up being a disgrace, and then that's going to cause a lot of controversy as it is.
I think that's what realistically is going to happen. And they're going to probably get just a 10-point deduction.
I think what you're saying, relegation, it could happen, but that's like the most extreme of the extreme. What I'm saying, which would be like, what, a 25, 30-point deduction to where they make no European competition, that is extreme, but not as extreme as yours. And it's still not going to happen, I don't think. I think a 10, maybe 15 max is what they get, because Juventus right now in Serie A, they just got a 15-point deduction. So I think Premier League could be like, hey, well, Juventus got a 15. Let's just give Man City a 15 and then call it a day.
I mean, I agree with you. I think that's what's probably realistically going to happen. That it's going to not be as severe as some other fans would like it to be, because I mean that. No matter what, I like how you said, it's a business. The Premier League is going to look at it, even though everybody knows it. The Premier League would be perfectly fine with what it has without Man City, but obviously they're going to be looking at it. If more is better. Why have 5 when you can have 6? Like,
that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying that would fail or anything, but more is always better. They're going to want more parity, more competition, more good players in the league. And Man City being in the league allows more good players to be in the league. I mean, imagine if Man City never existed. We might have never seen Aguero in the Premier League. We might have never seen Pep Guardiola come to the Premier League. Think about how many quality. And although they cheated to get these guys, I'm not denying that. But imagine the amount of talent we might have never seen in the Premier League. So I don't think the Premier League is going to just say, oh, we don't want this type of club in the Premier League anymore, because they want that talent there. They want these types of players in the league. That's what they want ultimately, because that's what makes it the most compelling league in the world.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
because there's only so many squad spots. So Chelsea couldn't just buy everyone. Arsenal couldn't just buy everyone. I mean, it doesn't really work.
I get what you're saying there, but it's also hard to play that type of game. It's if Man City never exists, it always gets muddy when that. But
it does get muddy. Realistically, but, I mean, this whole conversation is kind of hypothetical. So
yeah, it's a big hypothetical thing, because obviously, I mean, God knows City could be proven innocent, and we could all just be. and this could be, obviously the person who came and snitched on this should be reprimanded if this is found to be false,
Exactly. Yeah,
because
exactly.
that's definitely left a big stain on the club. Because if I'm just saying, I want to play both sides of
Yeah,
this.
play
If they're
devil's
found
advocate.
to
I
be,
wanted to touch on
if
that as well.
if they are found innocent, then this is a horrible stain on the club, because this is something us fans even before have always thought. And let's say they were doing it all legit. I mean, they just got a bunch of sponsorships, and that's just how they've been making their money.
And they
And look,
proved it.
and they prove it. Then we have to take back everything that we said. And yeah, they keep all their titles. They don't get nothing. Obviously, that's all. Doesn't have to be said. But I do want to put that out there that, yeah, if they are doing this legitly, I would be doing this by any club. If this was obviously Real Madrid are known for, my team is known for doing some shady stuff back in the day. But I think for the most part, for our current era, obviously not the 90s or 80s or something, we've been fairly clean. We haven't really done anything.
As
If
far
this were my
as far as
club,
we know.
as far as we know, if it were my club, I'd be saying the same thing. Strip us of all the thing. Look, because I just don't like that in sports. I don't like when a team or a franchise take something that's bend the rules, not really take anything, but bend the rules to benefit them to win. I've never liked that in any sport, and I never will.
Yeah. And look, I'm definitely in agreement with that. I think that they should get punished if this is found to be true. And if it isn't, whoever basically started this whole smear campaign on Man City, and obviously people are joking saying it was Arteta, blah blah blah. I don't know if that's true or not. But whoever did it, whoever snitched to the Premier League and said you need to start here's some facts to help your investigation, which the investigation was already going on. I think the alleged snitch just kind of filled in the gaps and paved over the cracks to finish the investigation. Whoever did that needs to be punished as well. Obviously, we don't know who it is. We might never know who it is, but that obviously needs to happen as well. And like, it's just, if this is found to be not true, and that it's basically Man City were clean, like we all said, then I don't know how you make it up to the club, because you can't really.
No.
It's basically, this is like a whole smear campaign, and this stain is going to remain with the club, because some people, regardless of if it's found to be proven guilty or not guilty, if it's not guilty, people are still going to believe it. They're going to be like, well, they just bought the courts, or the lawyer, he's found a way. People are never going to forgive them for this. Some people will never forgive them for this. So obviously, there has to be some kind of way to make it up to the club. But honestly, if I had to bet right now, hopefully we don't get sued for this, but I think Man City will be found guilty.
Yeah, because I mean, it you can't really even put people against that, because obviously people I don't know, football is one of the most corrupt sports in the world. Unfortunately, I mean that's
what also makes it the biggest. I mean, the biggest is also going to be the most corrupt. It's kind of how.
Yeah, because there's so many hands in that pot. There's so many,
so much money involved.
There's so much money involved. It's going to be corrupt. But obviously, we hope some type of justice is made. If it's proving City's innocence, or if it's reprimanding them, and we're here for both of it. I mean, we want, if they're found guilty, we want them what can be the most maximum punishment, and if they're not found guilty, then obviously they keep what they have, and people have to give the city more respect if they're found innocent.
And my thing, I hope that whatever comes of this investigation, it happens quickly, because they dropped all this information. Everyone's talking about it, including us. But now that they've done this, they need to come to their decision quickly. And something needs to happen fast. You can't be like, this all happened and talk about deducting points and this and that, and then nothing happened until the end of the season or next season or whatever. They're in the middle of the title race right now. Arsenal fans specifically, I'm sure they would love for Man City to get their points
this right now. Yeah, they'd want the points deducted right now.
So, I think that whatever happens, whether they're guilty, innocent, whatever, they need to come to their conclusion and make it happen quickly as possible. I know it can't happen overnight. It might not even happen this month, but it can't go on until the end of the season. They need to figure this out quickly.
Yeah, I would agree as well. I mean, I hope it's somewhat swiftly, so we can kind of get to the bottom of this. I kind of don't like stuff. Are they innocent? Are they guilty? Just want. But it is the justice system. How they work. It takes time.
Yeah, it takes time.
It's usually a drawn out thing.
Yeah. So obviously, this is an ongoing situation. We're going to continue to follow it, and there's going to be probably more twists and turns and developments and more facts that come out. And as they do come out, you can stay tuned to the channel, because we're either going to be talking about it in this type of video or a reel or something like that. And obviously, when the punishment is released, I'm sure we will be right on top of it, making a video about our initial reaction to that, whether they're innocent or guilty. So stay tuned for that. And unless you have any final points, obviously there's so many talking points you could go into with this. We still might not be done talking about it, but stay tuned for that and maybe a future podcast episode or something like that.
Yeah, I think that at the moment, that's all we can really say. There's not no more developing things. I think that wraps it up.
So obviously, like we said at the beginning of the video, we just wanted to thank you for helping us get to 800 subscribers. Obviously, we're super appreciative, and it's something that for me, I mean, it's hard to even fathom it because we've been working on this channel for so long now. It feels like, and so hard, and to actually be at this number and feel like we're actually like within touching distance of our goal, it's like kind of crazy. So it all comes down to you guys. I'm super appreciative to every single one of you that's ever watched a video, a reel, watched a second, watched no seconds. If you just subscribe to the channel, whatever
No
the
second.
situation may be, if you've ever done anything and interacted with the channel in any way, shape, or form, I'm super appreciative and I thank you.
Absolutely. I mean, I can't really say it much better than you did. I mean, I'm more of a quiet guy when it comes to this stuff, but I mean, I'm always super appreciative to everything. I mean, it's our TikTok's doing well. I mean, our YouTube's doing well. I mean, it's a blessing, and I'm very happy.
So yeah, obviously stay tuned to the channel because there's always going to be more videos. I think we're going to have our Champions League prediction video coming out within the next few days. So stay tuned to that. And I think without further ado, I'm your co-host, Zach.
I'm our co-host G.
And we will see y'all next time for our Champions League prediction video. Peace.